Yes? Dad, you're maybe stuck.
I got a winch it on it. It doesn't want to run right.
Yeah. Dad, your car is rolling backwards.
That's okay. Alright guys, so the goal was to drive the car to the dyno, but that's not going to happen. This thing barely made it up onto the trailer. Matter of fact, as you see, I had to winch it up onto the trailer, but it is loaded up. We're ready to rock and roll. Huge thank you to my boy Scotty for letting me borrow the family hauler. So we're off to the dyno. So we're here at McNews Automotive in beautiful Dillsburg, PA. It's a beautiful day out today. It's also a pretty hot day out today, so I don't think we're going to be seeing peak dyno numbers because it's already at 10 o'clock this morning. It's already 85 degrees. So as soon as this thing starts running and being in the dyno room, yeah, it's just going to be a hot day. They have done a couple of Chargers, Challengers, Magnums, Chrysler 300s, and with a similar setup to what mine has, they've seen upwards of 417 horsepower to the tire. So I think if I get anywhere in that range, between 417 and 430 horsepower to the tire, I'll be happy. But being heat soaked, well, not heat soaked, but being as hot as it is, we might not see those numbers. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, you never know. And the dyno is the great truth detector. It'll let you know exactly what's going on, and we're about to find out what's going on. Alrighty, Ray, what are you doing so far?
Just trying to get the file set up. So try to get the fuel trims right with the camshaft and the long tube headers, so we can get this thing to at least idle and drive before we do wide open throttle.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bear getting it in here, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was much easier just to use the winch to get it on the trailer.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have that problem when we're done.
That is the hope. And it'll make a little more horsepower.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. So, dyno tuning a car is a very long process of this. Just a lot of on and off throttle, different throttle positions. He's looking at the air fuel curve, the ignition tables, you know, he's just going through the whole ECU's map and he's trying to get it dialed in. And this is the most important part about dyno tuning, because without doing any of this, you can't just put it on there and go full bore, because the car's just not going to like it, and you could end up blowing up your car because it could go lean, it could be too rich, too much ignition timing. So this is a huge part of actual tuning on the car. It's why it takes so long, it's why it's so expensive, but it's also why when you get the car back, or motorcycle, it runs completely different and a lot better. So we're gonna be a while till we actually start to get into some actual dyno pulls. right, with that little pull there, made 324 horse, 387 torque, and that was only at about 4,300 RPM or so. But the lines are looking nice and straight. Ray's liking his air fuel. We can ask for a little bit richer. These cars are pigs. They like to drink fuel, so we'd like to see that line dip down into like the 1250s is what he's saying would be optimum. But we don't think it's going to be a problem making power. We think that download drivability is going to give us the biggest issue, because the torque converter in this thing is pretty tight. We're having an issue with it not wanting to stay running when you put it in gear. But I don't think horsepower is going to be a problem today. I think we're going to be right on track. Wow, that blew away my predictions. 435 horse, 397 torque. That's a nice flat torque curve too. That just picks up and holds. Horsepower's looking good too. That's pretty impressive, Ray.
Yeah. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's going to be quite a different running car from what I had. Whew. Yeehaw. Much better idle, nice and smooth.
Just settled right down.
Yeah.
This thing hasn't done anything.
Sounds better. Took care of the knock, just added some fuel, and what, took a little timing out of her?
Yep, right at coming into 4 grand and right at 4, and it's total 0.
Sweet.
Operating temperature was 212. So I mean it's heated up, so I think it should be good.
Also, let's let her cool down and do a final pull and see if it gets any more.
Yeah. The air fuel.
But I mean, that's right on. 436, 435 was the last one, so 400 torque. I like nice even numbers.
The air fuel's like spot on, like 12.5, 12.4, 12.4, 4. Nice. 38.51. I mean, I'm commanding 12.5, so I mean, we're within like, what, 1%?
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah, I think if we let this cool down just a little bit, we'll probably pick up a couple numbers. Give that glory run, right?
Yeah.
You got any nitrous in the back? We could spray the intake manifold down.
That's an expensive spray anymore.
Yeah, anymore, yeah. But no, that's looking good, nice and linear. All right, so we're gonna do just a final pull, let the car cool down just a little bit to see if it makes any difference at all. Ray's thinking it's probably not going to, but what the heck, we're here, we might as well try it, right? Oh yeah, that idles beautifully. That comes right back down.
Yep. We can be happy with that.
So,
That just tipped over 200 degrees when I got in it.
yeah. Yep, 430.
437 and 406.
So it actually looks like it picked up a little bit through the mid.
I rolled in it a little earlier just so we can see the torque curve. So when you go to get a converter for it,
yeah,
you have a pretty good idea of where.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You happy with that?
I'm ecstatic. 406 torque. Oh, Chris's stick bumped it. Okay, so 406 torque and 437 horse. I'm more than happy with that. That thing runs good. Absolutely.
How the track won't lie, right?
No. Wow. I'm just gonna go for a quick rip up the street here, just make sure everything's working like it should be. But I mean, it didn't change anything in the transmission settings, so all that stuff should still be good. It's just gonna be making sure that the engine pulls solid and that there's no missteps there. That's really all this is gonna be. So we'll see what she does. Should be a noticeable difference. There we go, second. Oh yeah. Way better. That's instant. Wow. Gonna need brake rotors again soon. That's impressive. That is a lot better. Wow. Oil pressure looks good. That's all about 70 some PSI of oil pressure, which that's about 10-15 more PSI of oil pressure than I had before. So oil pump's doing its job. Car's running great. I have to find a spot to turn around here, but by golly, that runs good. Woohoo! Oh, this is going to be a fun one here. Big smiles on this one. Oh yeah. Old McNews, man, I'll tell you what, I won't take my car anywhere else. They've got a ton of knowledge. Guys are real easygoing, down to earth. Huge shout out to Ray and his brother. Those guys do a stand-up job, man. This thing runs good. Throw her down in first. Woo! Oh yeah. This is gonna get me in trouble. It's so smooth. It's just linear pull the whole way. Coolant temp looks good, right around 200. Beautiful. Oh yeah, this thing runs good. This is gonna be a good running car. I can't wait to get back to the drag strip now. I cannot wait. I think this is going to be putting up some good numbers. Oh man. Well guys, I'm going to head back, load this thing up, and then I'll show you some of the dyno chart results, some of the before and after compared to what it made before to what it makes now. And just show you guys, you know, maybe that'll kind of translate what I'm experiencing, but this car runs amazing right now. This runs really good. That cam is doing the work. All right, so here are the final numbers. This was the last run that we did today. So 437 horse, 406 foot-pounds of torque, and a massive torque curve at that. I mean, it's almost to the 400s for quite a bit of that power curve there, and at least over 350 foot-pounds of torque. You know, for basically from 3,000 RPM on, it's over 350 foot-pounds of torque to the tire. So when I said it feels like a smooth rocket ship, or it really does feel like a linear pull, because you got this torque that comes in early and holds, and then you got this power that just builds very beautifully. Like I said, this line is nice and straight. all the way up to 437 horse. And I think, I was talking to Ray, I think that this actually isn't because the car is rolling over in power. I think the reason this is happening here is because the car is getting ready to make a shift, and before it makes a shift, it actually cuts the power by a certain percent. It definitely cuts the torque. It starts to cut the torque as soon as it makes that command for the shift. So I think what this isn't the fact that it's losing power. I think this is more the transmission getting ready to make that shift. So I'd be anxious to see, and Ray wasn't very familiar with how to set up the transmission settings and extend things out. And I heard that these NAG1 transmissions can be a pain. But my thought is that I think this would still make power if you revved it out more, because this is just the factory red line of 6,200 RPM. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but I believe that if I would extend the RPMs to maybe 65, I think this number would go even higher yet. And the only reason it dipped is because it was getting ready for that shift. Because I don't know if you heard in the video, you actually do hear it shift from third into fourth. But all that aside, this is a great power graph, and it's the reason why I went with the stage 2 camshaft. And if you look for comparison, what it was before with the intake, exhaust, and the tune, this red line is where we were at, which includes the long tube headers. That's the only other thing that I didn't have on at the time that I did this dyno where this blue line is. This was just an intake, exhaust, and just a reflash with the Diablo tuner. But yeah, you could see, typically when you put a camshaft in, you lose a little bit of this down low grunt. And every chart I saw in that stage 2 camshaft showed exactly this, where it kept and actually improved drastically that mid to upper RPM range torque. And it did that in abundance. There's about 50 foot-pounds of torque here, you know, down low where you're just coming out of the hole. So I think come the drag strip, next time we go, this is really going to run a lot better than it did. I think we'll have no problem keeping up with those 392s at the track with this setup. But even up top here, I mean, you're talking 330 foot-pounds of torque it was before. It's now 382 in the same spot. 378 horsepower it was before. You're now at 437. So massive, massive gains for just swapping a camshaft and stiffening up the valve train. But yeah, and we'll just do one final chart for comparison. This was when I first took the car there and just ran it stock with a reflash, and we got 355 horse and I think 330 torque, 333 torque to 355 horse, 333 torque. So over that, I mean, you're almost talking, that's massive. That's almost 80, 90 horsepower there. And 310 to 382 just in that spot there, you're talking 72 foot-pounds of torque. So, you know, with that massive torque gain through here. So this is why when guys do a cam swap, it is just a different car altogether. And you can just see those springs just doing the work, being able to keep those valves from floating, and you know, they're just doing their thing. That cam is flowing great. But yeah, this here is what was so hard to describe, and that's why I said I would just show you here. I mean, you've got, first of all, this torque that comes in pretty early and just sticks around, hangs out, peaks out at 406 foot-pounds. And then you've got this power that just steady and smoothly builds up till red line. And yeah, this car feels great, and I cannot wait to get it back to the track. But we are going to have to wait for another day. It's nighttime out, and it's not exactly time to go to the racetrack yet. Got my sweet Mopar sign. That was from the Mopar No Car event. I borrowed it, but yeah, I'm excited to get this thing back to the track. I'm hoping that there's some scat packs or some 392, heck, a 392 Chrysler 300. That would be pretty cool, a newer SRT. If I got to line up with one of those, it's kind of stock versus mine. That'd be a neat race to get into. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll see what's there next time I go to the racetrack, which hopefully is soon. But I'll put the camera on. We'll be rolling. We'll see what she does. But that is going to do it for this video, this series, guys. If you like the series, let me know in the comments. I'll try and get more of them out there for you. I got a couple more projects that are here, but you know, I will buy more projects if you guys like to watch those series and see how that stuff's done. But great experience. This being the first time I've done a V8, everything went very smoothly, and I'd do it again. I enjoyed myself. I don't think it was that difficult of a job, and it was just a lot of sleepless nights, but it all paid off in the end. I am going to do a video on the everything I've done to the car so far, gains and so forth, but again, that'll be in a future upload. But we'll see you probably next time in the car. We'll be at the racetrack, or maybe I'll have some stupid little mods before then. But as always, guys, have a good one. Thanks for checking out the stuff. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'm Matt. This is Motorworks.